Okay, good evening, everyone. While Tina's getting relaxed here a little bit, we'll go ahead and start the meeting. We're blaming this on the weather. We haven't ever been late with a meeting, so. Just had to say that, right? Okay,
You did.
Ms. Jones, roll call, please.
Mayor Barnett,
Present.
Mr. Austin, Mr. Gross,
Present.
Mayor Young.
Thank you. Please stand for the pledge. All right, again, thank you all for coming. Is there any announcements or public comments that does not relate to something on the agenda? Seeing nobody move, we will close that section. We're ready for the consent agenda.
Move to approve the Board of Works minutes from November 18th and also approval of claims.
Okay, and I will second that. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
There isn't any old business. We'll go right into new business. Request for approval of Veterans Alley Sculptures and Expo Art Contract Community Development Specialist Dana Monson.
Yes, good evening. As you know and have heard, the Public Art Advisory Commission received a grant as part of the Ready One program. This was the 180 in Color grant. And they've actually received 2 grants on that, but the grant that I'm here to talk about tonight is for the Veterans Alley. The Veterans Alley is the alley that runs north-south right beside the Elks Building up from Jefferson, and it tees into the alley that runs beside the Art Craft Theater. So that's orientation for you. We have been working with the Public Arts Advisory Commission. They sent out a request for quotes to 3 different companies. 2 companies sent back quotes to us for this project. What we're looking to do, thank you, yep, there we go. These will be 5, think of them as framed statues, if you will. They're gonna be flat pieces, silhouettes cut out of different types of metal that will go along the side of the building of the Elks. It will not be attached to the building. They're freestanding, they're attached to the ground. They're just a few inches away though, so they're not going to be impeding anybody walking. They're right against the building. They're going to be the 5 shapes. They're all 5 things depicting service art for servicemen and women and our soldiers. So there's a soldier playing taps. There is welcome home with a father greeting his child coming home. The stylized flag, waves of the flag, and then the soldiers, the retired soldier saluting the new soldier just coming into service, and then finally there will be the gold star that will be cut out on those. These will be backlit. The contract that I have before you tonight is from Expo Arts. As I said, we received 3 different we received 2 quotes. I requested 3, received 2 back. They were the lowest, most responsive, most responsible in the eyes of the Public Art Commission. So this is who they have recommended to send to you. I did receive the contract, sent it to Ms. Gray to review in case I had everything. Make sure she has been a huge help, so thank you in this process, Ms. Gray. It's been great. So you have before you tonight the quotes. You have the 2 quotes that we received. And then the one that we would like to recommend approval of to sign the contract tonight.
Thank you, Dana. Just as an aside, Dana reached out early and gave me as much information as she could, and that's why we tried to put this record of price quotations that's part of your packet. Hopefully other departments will start using it. I think it makes it easier for you when you review them ahead of time so you can see and outline it, and we circulated, thank you, Tara, to all the other department heads to use this process. If you wouldn't mind, please, would you read into the record?
Yes, ma'am.
We'll make this part of the record, but read into the record. The 1 quote was declined and the other 2 were?
Yes, ma'am. Let me get that. So we did, as I said, we did request quotes from 3 companies. We spoke quite in detail with Bomar Construction. Bomar declined to submit. so we do not have a quote from them. The second one, vendor number one was Expo Arts, located in Indianapolis, Indiana. Their quote was $71,662.12. The third quote that received, which is your vendor two, is M&M Construction, located here in Franklin, Indiana. Their quote was $145,000, or $145,409 even.
Thank you.
Move to approve the Expo Art contract as the lowest, most responsive, and responsible bidder for the Veterans Alley sculptures.
And I will second that. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Mr. Mayor, may I just ask one question from a public safety standpoint? You don't have any concerns from the police or fire being able to get up and down that alley as necessary?
We can't now.
Well, you can't get through there anyway, but you can still access it as much as you need to?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Sorry.
Thank you. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Dana. Okay, next item. Request approval of Resolution 2024-06, approving and adopting the City of Franklin Employee Handbook. Clerk Treasurer Jan Jones.
Yeah, we started the handbook process back in February, so we are finally here. The Board of Works, we are hoping will give us a favorable recommendation for adoption of the proposed employee handbook. So that's why it's a resolution for Board of Works, and then it will be an ordinance for the council. So we can go ahead and okay this recommendation for Board of Works.
Jan, just for the record, I know it's February, there has been a lot of work put into this. Can you explain, like, how we got to the changes in the handbook that hasn't been updated in 15 years or so?
Yeah, so we used a HR company, New Focus. If you remember, we brought before the board and the council to bring them in as a consultant. So we met with her first, Zoom. There was a team of us, Lynn, Tara, Michelle started, and then Donna took over when she came in, and then Stephanie has set in on some of those. We told her, she had our old one, we went through section by section, told her some of the changes we wanted. There were some state mandated items that we did not have in our old one that needed to be in the new one. She came back with a draft, so we sat down, went through the draft, made up marks probably 2 or 3 times, sent back. We then met with her in person to kind of get a final draft. After that, we met with each of the department heads individually, and they had to copy a week or 2 in advance so they could come with all of their questions. It was probably longer than that, they had it, but they came with all their questions. We worked through with each department head, any of their concerns, made any necessary changes that needed to be done with that. Sent those changes back to New Focus. We met with them one last time in person as a group, and then they figured everything out and got us the final draft just 3 weeks ago, probably.
And you
It's
just,
been a process, but
you just
it's been-
explained that in a couple minutes, and it took you since February to do it?
You wouldn't believe.
It was good. It was a lot of stuff that needed to be updated and changed, and glad that we're doing it.
And one of the challenges, I would add, and it was hours upon hours upon hours, is we have a makeup of both civilian and public safety personnel that are governed by different sets of laws. And then when you have government issues, that's a different set of laws. And then you have benefits that are different depending upon what classification of employee you have. So there's a lot of moving parts that are involved. The police and fire specifically have SOPs and SOGs, depending on whether you're police or fire, that are a subset of rules for them, and they're governed by merit processes that are state statutes. So I envision that this will be the first step, and then there'll also probably be a review of the SOPs and the SOGs for the fire and police, and making sure that there is some consistency. But you have to start somewhere, and this seemed like the logical one to start. Even though the Board of Works is really mandated for enforcing things such as discipline and those types of things, that's where the hearings come, is the Board of Works. Ultimately, we're asking the council to adopt it because the benefits and things are from council. They're derived from their funding of our operations. So that's why we're just looking for you to recommend the council to consider it. And it's been a task. Jan and I thought we could get it done in about 2 months? We thought we'd have it done?
It's a pretty big document for 2 months.
Yeah.
Jan, what is your communication plan? Are you going to send a link out to all the employees so they know about the updates?
Yes. So hopefully, the department heads have taken it back and talked with their employees. We know some of them have, because some of them have reached out, and we've answered some questions. The link obviously was also on the agendas, so several of them have seen that. Once it hopefully gets approved on the 16th, it'll be sent out on the 17th to all employees. There is a paper that they need to sign to say, yes, we've read through this, we understand everything.
Okay.
And then they'll have 2 weeks to get that paper signed and back in to hopefully have this start January 1.
Okay.
And we also kind of dovetailed it with the hiring of the HR person. So she's also on the ground floor of it and kind of worked from a time standpoint. She's here when it first gets started because oftentimes she's the one that's making the interpretations of things, so.
Were there any big surprises for employees?
Probably more so for police and fire, just trying to get police and fire aligned more together as a public safety unit within the municipality. But as far as huge changes, there weren't any for civilian employees. No,
Okay. No leave and benefit changes, that kind of thing?
no,
Okay.
no. Our insurance is staying the same. I mean, that's all. Yeah.
Okay.
Frankly, there were things that stayed the same that people weren't aware of. I mean, you know, when we started circulating out department heads, they're like, whoa, what about this? And we're like, well, it's in the old one. Oh, really? You know, so it was good to look at it again and start looking at it and saying, okay, it's a good time to,
And just so
Start
that
fresh.
people here in the crowd knows, these are the department heads. Matt's the assistant engineer. Mark Richards is our engineer. He's on vacation. Sherry Phillips, she's in billing. She's just getting back today, I think. So this is your department heads up here, and they do a great job.
Great work, Jan.
Thanks. I couldn't have done it without the great committee. So great.
I will move to approve Resolution 2024-6, approving and adopting the City of Franklin Employee Handbook.
I will second. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. We'll go on to approval and to trade in 9 office chairs to Kelly Promotion Products for an allowance towards the purchase of 5 new office chairs. Senior Planner Joanna Tennell.
Good evening. So since the flood and our relocation to this building, all of our furniture was purchased in 2009. So the chairs that we had, survived for 15 years, and we do have 5 of them that need to be replaced. They're basically worn on, their arms are torn up by the desk, or, something's ripped, something's broken, they're not managing. So we are requesting to have approval to trade in 9 of our chairs, because we did have some other ones that came with us. Kelly Promotions is, they had looked at those and had valued those at $1,510 to go towards the purchase of 5 chairs, which was a total of $3,250. And at the end of the day, it would cost us $1,490. So we'd like to request approval to trade in 9 chairs for that credit.
because I know you'll ask, there are a couple of statutes in play as opposed to going out and just getting quotes. And the first one is 52210, which allows a municipality or a government entity to make purchases which provide opportunities for unique savings, which is where this falls into because not everybody will give us a credit. And then the other provision is 52222, 6, that authorizes the entity to transfer and/or dispose of property that it has with a collective value of less than $5,000 without publicly selling it at an auction. So those two in conjunction allow Joanna to ask what she's asking to be done.
Okay.
And you don't need to cite those in the record. I just want to put them in the record.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I will move to approve the trade-in of 9 office chairs to Kelly Promotional Products for an allowance towards the purchase of 5 new office chairs.
Second. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Joanna, on that one. Next item for informational purposes, ordinance 2024-12, amending general provisions, buildings, sewers, and connections, and rates and charges related to the sewer service system. Senior Planner Joanna Tennell.
Yes, good evening. Since the update to the sewer rates, it has come to our attention, there's a little bit of difference in cost when you're a metered customer versus an unmetered customer. We have a lot of unmetered customers who are in Paris Estates because they are on wells. So in looking at an opportunity to reclassify those users from unmetered to metered, Sherry Phillips, Mark Richards, Matt, and I sat down to look at some options. One of the options that seems that it would work really well is to allow those unmetered users to purchase a flow meter in order to have it installed, and then to their well, and it would then read their actual water usage similarly to those that are on public water. They would be subject to the same requirements that metered customers are, that it does have to wait until there is the time period where we do take the average of the water usage, which is from October 1st through March 31st. That meter would also have to be remotely monitored, and they would need to provide the city the right to go ahead and pull those numbers. Since we were proposing this change, there were a couple of other things in the ordinance that just needed some clarification or some added verbiage to it. For example, we have an area that talks about sewer connection, and it's stated in our current ordinance that if you were an existing building and you were rebuilding, you didn't necessarily have to have a new connection. However, we always get the question of, well, what does that mean? Does that mean connecting to the existing lateral? Does that mean connecting with the existing tap that's there? What happens if we have to replace the tap? So we did go through and clarify that language to explicitly outline how we apply it, so it makes it clearer for the public. And then we are taking this for introduction before City Council this evening with public hearing and official action on December 16th.
Okay, thank you. With that being said, we usually don't do this at the Board of Works to open up for public comment, and I know that's why the folks from Paris Estates are here. Paris Estates is here. We got a little bit of time. If you want to come up and tell us your opinion, please do. So, if not, like she said, it will be introduced tonight at City Council, and then there will be a public hearing on December 16th at that City Council meeting. And what we do there is we allow 20 minutes at the, when we open it up for public hearing, there can be up to 20 minutes of comments. So, that's where we're at. But if anybody wants to say a few words tonight, you can't make that one, please feel free. But the City Council is the one that's ultimately going to vote. This is for information for us tonight on the solution that we see fit for this, so. Yes, ma'am, can you go up there, like, you know the routine.
I certainly do. I am Georgiana Haltom at 1815 Hillside Drive, Franklin, Indiana. And listening to Joanna and discussing the flow meter, this would be an expense to each person that has a well, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And then is it going to be set at, that it has to be a certain one, or you're setting the guidelines, or what?
That's one, Joanna, do you have an answer for that? Is it a certain meter, is Matt?
It's not a certain meter, it's just one that we have to approve and know that the software is compatible with the DPW billing office to be able to monitor that flow meter. There's no specific flow meter we are suggesting in that.
And it's not required. I mean, I just want to make sure, if you've read the ordinance, it's not required, but it is an option if you want to get a more metered response to the billing.
Just to put the pencil to this, do you have any idea what the average cost of one of these meters would be?
I don't have one off the top of my head.
And that would probably vary from meter to plumber that you have come and do that.
Okay. Right now, the way it was set with 6,000 gallon per month. I'm a one person, I know I don't use 6,000 gallon per month, but that's what my bill of $100.98 was based upon. So if I chose to put if I don't put the meter in, I will continue to pay the $100.98, is that correct?
Under the current ordinance, correct.
There won't be any adjustment at all. The only way it's going to be adjusted is if I choose to put the meter in and have it read on a monthly basis, then I will be only paying what the meter is reading out then.
That's correct.
Okay. Have I asked the right questions, or is there anything else that I should know before I would make a decision?
I think you've asked the right questions, but do you need more? I mean, you got any other questions? So try to answer the best we can.
Yeah, I've just wanted to see how I could, because I know I don't use 6,000 gallon, but then I have to just make a decision. Is it more economical for me to pay the $100.98 or to pay the cost and average it out over a number of years?
Yeah, and that's why we put it out here for informational purposes. Before we have the hearing on December 16th, these are kind of some of the things I think would be great to look into and do that. I know Joanna will, I know we will, I know the council members have indicated that they want to know. Mr. Swinehammer was there when we set the rates and raised this issue, and
Well, this is also a good
Fortunately-
resale value to,
to have it, to be connected, yeah,
Yeah.
sure. So, yeah, I think it's a work in progress, and so those are some of the information that hopefully we'll have by December 16th.
right now, it would be, I think the last I checked, it was $8,000 to hook up to city water. Is that something that you're going to consider for, in the future for
So
Paris
let me,
Estates?
that's a good question there. And I will tell you that I've had many conversations with Indiana American Water about trying to get water lines out there. And I think they have said they've talked to some people at Paris Estates. I don't know if any of you, but they're willing to make a deal on how they can get the water lines in there and charge so much a month to pay for it over a period of time. And we've talked about, okay, because what gets me is every time somebody buys a home in Paris Estates, I'll get a question from that new person that moved in a week later, a month later, why do we not have sidewalks? We want sidewalks. So talking with Indiana American Water, we can, if they put their water line in, there's a way to put the sidewalks in with the water meter. So with the water line,
So it both go at the same time as,
if that ever happened. But there's an expense to that, and it would have to go back on the residents' bills to pay their part of that. So I get that, it's another expense. But ideally, as a public safety, and I know I've talked to fire chief here, public safety, it's better to have, you guys know, the water
Sidewalk.
lines there. So now what they have to do, they have trained to go out on Paris Drive, yeah, and we allow, go ahead and tell them your
So
procedure.
we've trained on, we know exactly how far the truck will reach, and it takes 2 trucks to reach the middle of Paris
Paris Estates.
Estates. So the last hydrant's right there in the curve of Paris Drive as you're going in. So the first truck would stop there, wrap the hose, and they would go out until they ran out of hose and stop. Then the next truck would come and lay out to the middle or wherever it is, but it takes 2 trucks. So having water lines out there would be, to you residents, a huge benefit, because relay pumping like that takes more manpower, more time to get set up to start fighting your fire, because all of our trucks carry 1,000 gallons of water. So, and our ladder truck only carries 500. So the ladder truck would be the second truck there. You're only talking about 1,500 gallons before they could get set up the operation to ever get water from the hydrant. So if there was a way to get water lines ran out there and you citizens be able to pay for it over a time period, that would be the best option.
I think it also affects your insurance rates.
Oh,
I
it
can't-
would-
Does.
I know they have a rating for it.
ISO rating.
But I did want to just clarify one thing, because I frequently ask this question. We don't have city water. We have a city sewer system. We don't have a city water system. It's an Indiana American
American
Water.
Water,
So we're
yes.
somewhat limited in terms of what we
It's
can
based
do.
upon how far we are from the hydrant.
That's
Yes.
correct. That's
Our
exactly, in terms of your insurance. But a lot of times people will call me as well, and they'll say, well, why won't the city run this? Well, we don't have a city water plant. We have a
Right.
city sewer plant.
Well, my only other question then is there would be a list of official people or pumps that would be allowed to be used in red. Is that correct?
There would be approved pumps that, I mean, it would have to meet the criteria that they have, but we could generate a list. Now, if there's somebody else that meets those criteria, we're not telling you which one to buy, just as long as it meets the criteria that will sync up with the city's software. Yeah.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Georgiana.
Thanks for taking the time to ask.
We got a few more minutes if anybody, yes, Larry?
Larry Paris, 1778 Putter Drive. My water softener, I hope Mr. Pinnick or Mr. Petro's not here, is a Morton brand. And it has capabilities, and it tells me all my water usage. So my water usage right now, the monthly average is 3,180. So from 6,000 down, that's quite a savings for me. And I hope that the city knows that if you put these meters on there, you're gonna be losing a lot of money. Maybe you ought to just average it down to like 4,000, make everybody happy and save a lot of trouble.
Larry, we thought about that, and the reason we didn't, because there is people that are metered that uses the 6,000 gallons in the city. There are people that do that, and we don't know which household
Yeah.
does or doesn't.
The
That's
average,
why,
I'd say the average home in Paris Estates is probably a two-person. Georgiana's a single, a lady across Margie Quay, a single, down the street.
Larry, do you guys have sprinkling systems out there? I've been out there a million times. I didn't know, does anybody
But
have?
that doesn't go through the sewer anyway.
Well, but it also doesn't go through the water softener. That's all I was thinking
Yeah, it
about.
does not go through the water
Water softener. So I didn't know,
I do not have
been
a
out there. I
sprinkler
didn't know if
system.
other people did or not. Yeah.
But just something to think about. If I go on the metered pump, when I'm gone for 4 months out of the year, I'm a snowbird, so what happens then? Do I get a zero bill?
No, because there's still a user fee, but it's, yeah, there's still a user fee to be on the system, but
I would assume.
I should know. I pay a bill every month and I don't pay attention.
The flat rate.
Yeah, no, but you have the
The user fee.
user fee and,
So it
but
won't
no
be zero.
gallons on top. And you still have your
it.
$5 stormwater every month
Yeah.
and,
Well, I meant on
but
the
that's
water
it,
on
no
the-
gallons.
So for the sewer bills, the rate is the base fee plus that average from the October through the March timeframe.
That's why we do
So
it.
it doesn't change, your water or your sewage bill doesn't change month to month to month based on what water usage you have at that time. It changes once a year after that average is applied.
Got you.
It might ought to be really good then. I'll be gone January, February, and March.
all right, thank you, Larry. Is there anybody else? We got a few more minutes.
Jeff Brinkman, 1918 Red Oak. Is there any way to get a list of what you currently approve for flow meter? I mean, you've stated one option is to put a flow meter in, but the only way for us to calculate that is to know what flow meters you might approve. Is there, before the December meeting, can we get that?
I mean, we certainly can do some research. It's really a sense of getting a plumber out there to kind of give you an estimate of what a good flow meter would be. And then they'd come to us with that approved flow meter. We'd kind of look it over. But yeah, we can probably put together, I think, a list of what we might consider a good flow meter.
A list to start with, but not the,
Yeah.
Right, I mean, at
It's
least
not
right
gonna be all
now,
inclusive,
we
I
don't know if
guess.
it's $500
Right.
or $10,000, and so there's no way to calculate, is it worthwhile to have a flow meter put in?
Right.
Right.
So we would contact you, is that correct?
I don't have a problem with that.
we can also work on having some kind of a list in the December meeting for city council. of an approved, this is one of an example.
Right,
of
just an
approved meter.
example of something would get us started to
Because
say,
it's going to depend on the plumber. I mean,
Right.
the device itself is probably not the cost. It's probably going to be the plumber, your particular house. It's the same cost that all of us have, even in town. When you first, build your house, everybody's got to put in a meter. And
Right.
so it just depends on the house.
okay.
But we can get some idea. Sure.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes.
The worst thing is to have one put in and then come, when it's ready, we find out that it's.
We wouldn't let that happen.
No,
We-
you'd have to get a permit. That's why what Matt said is the plumber would come in and say, here's what we plan to do. What do you think? And we'd say, yep, it'll work or it won't work. Because it's really, it's the software really that's the issue.
I mean, the section 7 of that ordinance that was introduced or for information tonight says that the plumber shall submit to the city engineer for approval prior to installation. So,
Yeah. So you wouldn't do it, I would hope not,
yeah.
without asking first.
Okay.
Would we be required to use somebody that you
No. 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 You can do it yourself.
No.
Okay. Any other questions before we close? Go to department reports?
No, because you have other sources using water. It's not necessarily everything going through the water softener. Other things could be used. Yeah, I mean, your water meter takes all the water through your house.
No, but there's sewer bills in the city limits here in Franklin where people water their grass. It's the same thing. They do
use-
as well.
Go ahead.
Joanna's got another?
We spread it out.
You're not watering your yard.
But there are other sources of things that don't necessarily run through your water softener.
Okay, so we're going to close. I think we've heard most of it. Like I said, there's an opportunity to come back for a public hearing. I do want to hear the department reports. Chip, can we start with you, please?
Absolutely. This coming Saturday is the annual holiday lighting. I did see the weather's going to cooperate and be nice and beautiful, so everybody come out and watch the courthouse be lit up and all downtown. I believe there's 120 vendors at the market that day, so there's plenty of stuff to do. And we don't normally do this, but we're having fireworks at the end of it because those are rescheduled from the fall festival. I see several potential applicants in the room, so I'm going to announce that starting yesterday, we're taking applications for the summer already. So anybody looking for a job and loves parks, come work for us. All you people too, don't get me wrong. Speak of that, I mentioned this at a department meeting today. I have two unusual job openings. Mainly, I wanted to tell you why, is because for the last 12 or 13 years, we've had the same two ladies do all this beautiful landscaping that you see around the city. Then they have both retired, which means I have a really cool job opportunity for anybody that loves landscaping and loves flowers and loves beautification. I got a feeling it's going to be a hard job to fill, so if you know anybody, send them the Parks Way. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Chief? Cochran?
Just a couple things. Everybody in the public's invited. The police department, coming up on December 11th, 5 o'clock, we do our annual, 7th annual Christmas toy drive. We have about 120 kids that will serve this year. We are in the process of sorting those donated toys presently, so we got quite a mess. That's the police department, but it's a good time to fellowship with the police department and bring everybody together, wrap and give back out to the community. So everybody's invited to that. We'll have some snacks and things like that. Business-wise, we're in the process of hiring 2 ladder officers from different departments. They're in the middle of their testing right now. It's finishing up their psychological exams, things like that. So we'll get them on board, and then we're looking to hire one more in January. We'll be back to full staff. So right now, we're in a good place. Other than that, we're in good shape.
Thank you. Chief Snyder?
first thing is Station 21. We started running out of there on November 23rd. So hopefully we get the last few things tidied up and we will have an open house in the next couple of weeks to have everybody come in and see how the station remodeled. There's a lot of retirees and guys that used to work there are chomping at the bit to come in and check it out. And I have a new guy starting Monday. Got his paperwork back from state this morning and called, and he accepted the job offer to start next Monday.
Thank you, sir. The reason, just to clarify here with Josh a little bit, I like when new people come to the meetings and you get to hear all the good stuff that goes on. That the fire station has been remodeled up there. It was a $2.5 million job, and it was a grant money from the ARPA funds, American Rescue Plan, from 2020 COVID. That's where we got the money to remodel the station, and we're kind of proud of that, so glad we're there. Rick?
Nope, nothing, sir.
Krista?
I don't have anything tonight.
Brett?
It snowed, in case anybody missed it while they were here. But, yeah, I think it's a lot better condition now, and apologize to anybody that feels like we missed it, but it kind of snuck up on us. But I think we're in a much better shape than looking at the road conditions. I think Franklin did okay, but it's less than desirable out there, so be careful on your way home.
Thank you.
Yep.
Matt?
Yeah, as probably people noticed, US 31 water main relocation is taking place up by Walmart. Currently, they're going to begin boring under Canary Ditch for about a week. So I just wanted to inform everybody that there will be a drill sitting on North Main Street, the residential portion, for about a week, but they will have temporary flagging and barrels set up for that access around that.
Okay, and that North Main Street is the far North Main Street where you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. It is not Morton Street or 31, it's, yeah, the North Main.
Okay, and I'll cut in again because we're talking about the North US 31 project, and everybody asked about US 31. That project is moving forward. The state is going to put it out to bid. It was going to be mid-December. Now they're talking early January was the latest. They're putting it out to bid, and they do plan on starting the project in the spring. They would start at the culvert at Canary Ditch, and changing out that, under 31, getting a bigger culvert, box culvert there. And then they would move, I think it might be simultaneously, on the south end of the city.
Yeah.
Coming this way, and it'll take 2 or 3 years to get the project done. Traffic will be open both ways. There may be times it's down to one lane. It will be inconvenient, but the state is moving forward with the project, so. Just giving an update there.
That's all I have.
Sally, thank you, Matt.
Speaking of ARPA money, we have been enjoying our $3 million what'd that building?
It was $3
million
Yeah.
screening building, and our guys clean the clarifiers twice a year, and they just wrapped that up, and the debris they got out of those clarifiers this year, like one clarifier had like 2 5-gallon buckets. So as before, we would get front-end loader 3 scoops of debris. So that screening building is really, really helping us out. And so another good use of the money. I think I mentioned this earlier, we did a little project on Jefferson Street there, and I wanted to thank everybody for that, but we had some problems with sewers, all new now. So if you saw us digging down there, and the concrete's back, ready for Christmas, so that's it.
Thank you, Sally. Jan? Nothing. Tara, do you have anything? Tara, she walked out on me.
Yep.
Okay, I didn't see that. So, Lynn, do you have any?
Getting ready for the chief's wrapping party. I assume that's gift wrapping, right? That's gift wrapping, right? Not wrapping. All right, I got
Do
it.
you have anything?
Yes, I do. One quick item, and it'll be under here. An item of business. Joanna was approached, and then I was approached as a result of that, about Wilson Overlook. When it was developed, oh goodness, I don't know how many years ago, when the map was dedicated, the developer, Mr. Fred Paris, on his plat indicated he was going to dedicate a certain portion of undeveloped land to the city of Franklin. And when you look at it on the plat, and I've got a copy here for Ms. Gross to look at, it's unimproved area, but it's also, when you look on page 2 of the overlay, all floodplain. So it has absolutely no ability to be used for anything other than a requirement that it be mowed by us. And in consultation with Chip and with the mayor, it didn't seem like a parcel of property we would want to have to be responsible for it, since it could not be used by our citizens.
And
So,
Can I add to that?
Absolutely.
So the reason that it's even come up, Fred, former mayor, come to me, and the city has first right of refusal. And if we refuse that, he's got an opportunity to sell that with a lot or something. So I can't see any reason the city would need that.
and so, yeah, there's a little bitty part there that,
Yeah.
yeah, and everything else is completely in the floodway, which under restrictions, no buildings, no structures, no anything on it. So, what my ask of you is today is, the title company is getting ready to sell the last lot, wanted something official from me, which I think should come with the authority from you, that we do not wish to take this section of property to be dedicated. We do not wish to accept the dedication of floodplain to the city.
I'll move to decline the proposed donation of land
Okay?
to the city of Franklin.
And I will second the motion, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you. I will so transmit a letter accordingly that you did that. Nothing
Okay.
further, sir?
Okay, and I don't have anything to add tonight. I do appreciate everyone coming in, and see you in September. Thank you.
December. We'll be here in December.
Is it December? Is that what I said?
You said September.
No, Larry's going to vacation.